Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from worldwide. I'm Sterling. It's great to have you back on the channel. This show's being recorded on Saturday, May 24th, 2025, and then posted to all media channels on Sunday, May 25th, 2025. As always, these shows are provided for entertainment purposes only. All the information I share with you comes real time through my guides, angels, extended spiritual counsel, ETs, famous people from history, so for entertainment purposes only. Also, if you remember to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, all those things really help the channel. If you're new to the channel, we grab questions from our community board on the post section. And we do that every Monday, and then my wife goes through them. I think there were 700 questions again, and then this week she hones them down, and we have now, I think on this show, 65 questions to go through with your real time. So she does select questions she feels are representative of the mix of the hundreds of questions that we get. So thanks for everybody's diligence. It's your efforts. Your following the show, your really the efforts you put behind these questions that create the quality that goes into these shows, and we appreciate that very much. I want to start off today's show just a couple of quick highlight items. The first is that, I talk about the AIMS strategy all the time on this channel. The AIMS strategy refers to what's going on in the White House with 45, with the A being the analysis, the I being the investigation, the M being the movement or the military, the S being the separation. We're effectively moving into the M phase of the strategy. You see worldwide movements around the ICC, worldwide protests, things going on. This is all leading up to really it's going to eventually be a separation around the end of September of this year. So we've got a lot of things going on worldwide. They're going to lead to the complete unveiling of the electronic election interference that went on. Talked about it now for many, many months. But this is an ongoing situation, and every once in a while people want to hear an update. So that's kind of the update of kind of where we're at right now. The second thing I want to touch on is that we talk about CRISPR technology or gene editing technology all the time on this channel. That refers to an area of science. There are thousands of companies working on CRISPR engineering, genetic engineering. And, I was reminded this week that there was a lady that reached out to us, my wife and I, that because we talk about CRISPR technology all the time, she had the courage to take her child into the doctor for a sickle cell anemia case. In fact, CRISPR ended up being very helpful, but she had the courage based on what you heard on these shows. It's one of the big reasons we do these shows is to get the information out there from the universe, what's coming from angels and guides and large angelic councils and extraterrestrials, right? So that's one of the big reasons we do these shows. Last but not least, really there are no more one-on-one booking sessions right now for myself. We're booked well out into 2026. At some point, we'll revisit that and decide when we'll open up more opportunities for one-on-one sessions with myself. For now, the Platinum membership is available, and we do answer a single question for each Platinum user. As we go through the alphabet, we break it out into 4 different sections. If you want more detail on the Platinum membership, go to our website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. Look at the memberships tab. That'll give you a lot of information right there. What we will be doing is I'm going to be booking more collaborations with other psychics and mediums out there. So kind of shifting where some of the time is being spent. But we appreciate everyone's support. And if you'd still like to get a hold of me in somewhat real-time basis, the Platinum membership is the best way to do that. And the join button is on the front page of the YouTube channel, as well as the front page of our website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. Okay, wonderful getting through all that. I'm glad we had all the housekeeping there at the front of the show. And so now, with no further delay, let's get going on the countdown for today's show, the top 65 questions. 65. Will new articles of impeachment filed by Senator Al Green be more successful than those that were initiated unsuccessfully last week by Senator Sri Tanandar? Will these efforts collectively play an important role in the transition to the M phase of the overall AIMS strategy? Yes, this is all part of a very large scale effort. So, this is one of many things going on worldwide, not just the articles of impeachment. All these things collectively will come out in public, along with all the information on the electronic election interference that occurred through large data centers, satellite services companies, and all the usual suspects. Okay. 64. Karim Khan, the chief prosecutor for the International Criminal Court, ICC, had his bank accounts frozen and lost access to his email accounts. Is this because of 45 efforts in the background? Will this be corrected anytime soon? Yes, 100% associated with 45's administration and individuals working globally to fulfill 45's desire to stop ICC prosecution. And as I see a lot of the email and bank account access for Kareem, I think is a Khan, will be restored just within a few weeks here. 63. Will the white refugees from South Africa be allowed to stay in the U.S. after 45 is out of office? Yes, I get they'll be allowed to stay in the U.S. and there's going to be some sort of a unique carve out in immigration policy put forward by 45's administration that will allow that to take place. 62. Hello, Sterling. I was wondering if you could explain the spirits of Gettysburg. I believe you indicated on prior shows that spirits are not stuck in a particular location, so why are they returning? That's correct. So spirits are never really stuck. You have free will on the other side. But if there's a very important event to a spirit, they will come back to that location, not just for their own edification, but also because they feel it was important as far as a world event goes. Okay? 61. When will the GOP stand up to 45's administration? Congress is essentially doing nothing while the major ongoing grifting of our government endures. Will part of the legislative branch stand up and pull the plug on this debacle? This is going to be a slow, gradual process, like almost like one by one, members of the GOP coming back to reality and sanity, along with the Supreme Court. You're going to see this whole trend. This is all part of the M phase of the M strategy, the movement part of the phase. Okay. And so we're going to see a lot of that happen this year in 2025. 60. After the AIM strategy and the 2026 recovery year, when full disclosure has taken place, will extraterrestrials assist us to combat climate change in ways that actually make things better for upcoming generations? And will the leaders of the world be receptive to the changes suggested? So extraterrestrials are already working around the world to limit and mitigate the effects of climate change. It's going on right now. Otherwise, we would have seen a tenfold increase in a number of the major catastrophic weather events going on. So actually, a lot of extraterrestrial work is already going on right now. And yes, the world over this 3-decade reset period, 2020, 2050, will completely embrace, adopt a lot of the changes that are coming into place, new technology. 59. Will there be some significant advances in the treatment of diabetes, both type 1 and type 2, in the decade to come? Yes, we've actually addressed this a couple of times, but CRISPR gene editing technology will make some tremendous strides over the next 10-year period by the year 2035 that will allow better management and even reversal of type 1 and type 2 diabetic conditions. So that's all coming. And I believe scientists already have made major breakthroughs using mice. 58. Do souls have personalities? For example, are some souls more talkative than others? Are some more serious, outgoing, etc.? Yes, 100%. All souls have a type of a personality that you can completely align with and enjoy and relate to. Of the millions of entities I deal with on the other side, extraterrestrials, famous people from history, guides, angels, the majority, overwhelming majority, have wonderful senses of humor, even tell jokes in the process. So, humor is part of the love side of the dimension of the universe, right? Remember, everything runs on fear or love in the universe, and humor and jokes. It's all part of the love dimension. Yes. And a lot of spirits, apparitions, all maintain their personality traits. Now, if they had personality traits that were hateful or anger or depressed, they get rid of a lot of that when they cross over. 57, can you read on Jake Tapper's new book, specifically his sources and whether they're telling the truth or not? I get a feeling most of what's in the book is not true. You know what I get on that is it appears that I'm gonna call it poetic or creative license taken in some areas. So I wouldn't say that everything is matter of fact true. Some kind of creative license to try to like stitch together a picture. And when you take creative license in some areas, you can paint a picture, the kind of picture that you want to be seen. So I keep getting creative license, artistic license being taken with some of the things in the book. So that's what my team's telling me. 56, on March 5th, 2023 at 9:29 p.m., I was leaving Disneyland theme park heading to the parking lot. A crowd of people had gathered, looked up at the sky. There was a huge black ring that was hovering over us. It was all we could see. I videotaped it for nearly 2 minutes, and later when I got home, I saw the video had picked up two green flying objects that were moving around, and we could see that we could not see at the time. What did we witness? These were thousands of drones in the air used for special events. Okay. 55. Hi, Sterling. I noticed that you are not taking appointments for private sessions now. Do you think you will resume at some point in the future? Yes, and we touched on this beginning of the show. So to iterate, we're booked out way out into 2026. So at some point we'll revisit that, my wife Linda and I, and we'll decide. But for the time being, we're actually holding off on any new one-on-one session bookings, but shifting some of the energy and the focus towards collaboration with other psychics and mediums. So you'll see more shows coming up in other areas on other psychic mediums channels. 54, hello Sterling. I just noticed 45 is attending the NATO summit in summer, June 24th through the 26th. How will this trip go? Will anything significant take place while he is there? You know, what I see is the meetings are going to serve to strengthen the alliance of NATO. So it's going to be very worthwhile. I see 45 is going to create some havoc, a lot of social media posts, but it's going to strengthen the alliances around NATO. Okay, 53 in the countdown. Will the significant Medicaid cuts go through the budget? And if so, will some hospitals be closed? And will some of those in nursing homes be affected, etc.? I do see, cuts in Medicaid coming. It doesn't appear to me they'll be as significant as being proposed. So something like 10% of all, maybe 10% of hospitals. Now that's a big chunk of hospitals, but it looks like there'll be some sort of reduction in the breadth of Medicaid cuts that are going to be made when the final budget goes through. As a recording of the show, I think the big beautiful budget went through the House and it's going now to the Senate. But I'm getting that there'll be Medicaid cuts, but not as severe. And I'm getting something like maybe 7 million people. So maybe 70 million people get covered under Medicaid right now, but 10% or 7 million may be affected. So it's a problem, but a little bit more of a reduction in the number of individuals being affected, if that helps. 52, what was really behind 45 going to Saudi Arabia in recent week? In addition, many of the world's wealthy technology CEOs were also on location, including Apple, Palantir, NVIDIA, Tesla, ongoing, yeah. Well, there was a global AI conference in that same area in the Middle East, and so a lot of them were there attending the global AI conference. I also get that a lot of these tech CEOs want to make sure that they had their hand in the pie for any benefits coming out of investment coming to the U.S., as well as some interaction with the new AI major center being built now in the Middle East. So, a couple things going on there. They had a reason for being there, the big AI conference, ensuring they got a portion of the budget coming. So, a number of things there. And I think they're saying what's behind. So, 45 going to Saudi Arabia was to cement his relationship with that area of the world. Remember, we've talked many times. Our team's talked for years now that 45 will eventually flee to Saudi Arabia when all this comes down on him, when all the mess comes down on him, and the illegal electronic election interference comes down. So, yeah, I mean, all this is all part of the process and the plan overall. No surprise here. 51. Eventually, will the newly gifted $400 million Boeing 777 from Qatar play a role in 45's escape plans to the Middle East? It will. And as we already know now, the State Department has agreed to keep the 777 gifted by Qatar. And it's going to be years before it'll ever be, used as Air Force One. But I do see that plane being used as part of an escape plan to the Middle East. Absolutely. I would say, believe what your eyes are showing you, believe what you see. 50. Will we ever see a time when billionaires are taxed like they're supposed to be? And when will actual wealth be redistributed more fairly? It's going to be another 4 years before we finally see the 15% minimum tax, 15%. So that's going to happen. As far as wealth distribution, we got like another decade, another 10 years before a much more fair wealth distribution occurs. But it's a process here. Overall, it's all part of the 3-decade reset we're going through. But you're going to see a little faster results here in terms of minimum tax on billionaires and major corporations, and then a better distribution of wealth within about 10 years. 49. Hi, Sterling and team. In the previous show, your guides indicated King Charles and Prince William would have short reigns as the kings of the UK. What future do you see for the British monarchy? Do you see the public holding a referendum which would lead to the abolition of the monarchy, or do you see the structure of the monarchy being revamped for the 21st century? I've always seen King Charles having a short reign due to health problems, and the rest of the monarchy actually being revamped and somehow completely minimized in the eyes of Britain. It's actually going to be revamped and be less important going forward in kind of the world's history. So the monarchy is really going to start to fall by the wayside in terms of its importance, which is why I saw the short reign for Prince William. Because the world's really going to move onward. It's going to find other ways to invest in humanity and people and the importance of what's going on in the world. 48. Ed Warren and his wife, Lorraine Warren, collected haunted items from the cases they investigated and placed them in a museum within their home. Are these items truly haunted? If yes, do they require blessings from the Catholic Church every week to ensure the objects don't harm anyone? So these objects are not connected to the devil or anything. There's low-lying energy spirits that get attracted to a lot of items. No, they don't need blessings from the Catholic Church. Sage helps a lot. You can sage elements. You can put them outdoors, put sunlight on them, but no devil connected here. You have low-lying spiritual energy, low-level energy that gets attracted to some of these elements. So that's the biggest reason. And the simple solution a lot of times is getting rid of the items. If you think there's a problem, just get rid of the items. But no, they're not haunted. No devil connected to them. Don't require Catholic blessings every week. But yes, there's some low-level energy connected to a number of items. Remember, prankster spirits hang around haunted locations, so this is very common. 47, the countdown. Do souls who have crossed over have the ability to go back and forth between heaven and earth so the souls can visit earth whenever they desire? Yes. Souls on the other side, you can visit any dimension, any galaxy, Earth. You can come back, you can visit at any time you want. A lot of free will on the other side. Remember, time is nonlinear, that heaven moves faster than the speed of light. So you can go backwards and forwards in time. You can't reincarnate at any time that is before the time you left Earth, but you can certainly look forward in time, backward in time, and you can come back and forth as many times as you want. That's all part of free will on the other side. That's actually why a lot of family members experience their family members, parents coming back to visit them. 46, Judge Hannah Dugan of Milwaukee was recently indicted by a grand jury for the ice fiasco in her courtroom and has recently pleaded not guilty to the charges. Will she be found innocent? I get she will be found innocent in the long run here. Going to go through a case. I get eventually it's going to be thrown out. It'll be thrown out. So she'll eventually be found innocent. And this is creating a big dust up, so to speak. The GOP is creating a big dust up around this whole because it relates to immigration, illegal immigration. And it's a big dust up here. But it looks like Judge Hannah Dugan will eventually be found innocent. 45. Hello, Sterling. What do you see that happened in regards to the two FA-18 Super Hornet fighters that were lost off the USS Harry Truman aircraft last week or the week before? Is it something nefarious or simply pilot errors? I don't get anything nefarious whatsoever. I get this is all human error. I think there were two that were dropped off the USS Harry Truman by human error, and I think there was another landing accident. So, unfortunately, I think everybody does the best they can, but this looks like it was human error, is what they're telling me. 44, why is the 45 administration rescuing South African refugees who are pro-apartheid? Is 45 attempting to build his own militia in South Africa? Well, I get yes. 45 is trying to strengthen the MAGA movement in South Africa. Yes, they were brought over to the U.S. I also see, again, we talked about there'll be a carve out, an immigration carve out for white South Africans. But yes, this is all part of an overall plan. 45 and his administration to strengthen like a MAGA movement around that area of the world. 43, the 45 administration is ending temporary protection status or TPS for thousands of Afghans who risked their lives helping U.S. troops during the war in Afghanistan. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, is now being sued by immigration advocates. Will this lawsuit succeed in saving Afghans from deportation? I don't see it stopping the deportation of Afghans, unfortunately, for the better part of 2025, and that's going to simmer down by the end of 2025 is going to 2026. There'll be like new laws coming on the books, even to bring the Afghans back. But in 2025, it looks like these laws are going to go through, and there will be deportation of these Afghans, unfortunately. 42 is it is being reported that Congress is planning to repeal the $7,500 EV tax credits in the administration's big, beautiful bill for 45 and try to offer zero interest tax write-off financing only for American manufactured autos. Will this happen and will the bill pass? See, if it happens to pass, will it hurt the EV industry in the U.S.? I see it's going to pass as part of the big, beautiful bill. So a lot of these credits are going to go away. I believe there was a $4,000 credit for used EV vehicles as well. So it's going to pass. And yes, it's going to hurt the EV industry in 2025. Then we're going to see some sort of a turnaround in 2026. 41, when will we start seeing the downfall of this administration with people being charged as Stephen Miller, etc.? How much additional harm will they cause before that happens? So here again, they're going to create a lot of sufficient havoc for a good part of 2025. We're in it right now. So if you think about, a cycle, we're kind of in the top end of the cycle right now, where a tremendous amount of havoc, and then we're going to start into a roll-off period where a lot of the facts are coming out, people start going by the wayside, They're having to leave Congress. We're seeing a lot of information come out worldwide around electronic election interference. The AIM strategy will play out. So a lot of things are going to happen, but look for a lot of this havoc to start to subside as we get into summer of 2025. 40, I work in the medical research industry and we received information that one of our sponsors is halting research studies due to insufficient funding. Will 45's removal of funding for medical research become a huge impact and affect more studies? Yes. So we talked about this before. The $2.7 billion of reduction for the NIH is going to affect a lot of studies. It will. The good news is, as we get into the middle of 2026 and towards the end of 2026, a lot of this funding is going to get restored. So, but yes, this is going to affect a lot of things going on this year. 39, an OpenAI researcher turned whistleblower, Suchir Balaji, was found dead in his apartment in San Francisco, California. Will the truth come out about what happened to him? Yes, almost by like October of this year, they're going to find out it was foul play and who did it. So this is not going to be very hard to uncover. It feels like authorities already know what this is all about. So yes, it will all come out and law enforcement will move ahead aggressively on the perpetrators of this crime. 38, once 45 is out of office, out of the country, will he stop communicating constantly through social and other media outlets? Well, he'll be out of the country, but 100% still very active on social media platforms. So as he's going to end up being out of the country in the Middle East, claiming he can't come back because of the deep state, he'll be very active on social media, screaming out loud from the rooftops. 37, do we choose how we look when we come into each lifetime? For example, hair, eyes, weight, height, etc. Yes, they're all actually integral parts of your life path blueprint. And think about it. If you're very tall or very short, that might have an effect on whether, say you're in sports or not in sports. If you're very strong or not strong, you might have another position. There are attributes that we come into life with that do affect or correlate with our life path blueprint. So it is all part of what you select prior to coming down here. And it all directly relates to the lessons you want to learn. 36, you mentioned there would be a football-sized UFO that would be visible around the world within 2025. Do you still see this event taking place? Yes, this will take place in many areas around the world, including all over the US, parts of Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, Canada, you name it, even Russia. It's going to happen all around parts of Europe, Russia, all around the world. And there's going to be several these are Palladian motherships, triangular shaped ships. And yes, they're already being seen right now, but there'll be millions of individuals that will see them and witness them as part of the rollout of full disclosure. 35. Will the administration be successful in suspending constitutional right of habeas corpus? No, this will not be removed. They're going to try. It's going to be challenged by many courts. The Supreme Court's going to take it up, lower courts. It's not going to be removed. And basically, this is defined in the Constitution, and this relates to the ability to be able to go before, let's say, a governmental court to challenge, the legal detention if you're being detained for some reason. So no, it's not going to be. It's going to be upheld. The constitutional right will be upheld. 34, some psychics and mediums predict the newly elected Pope Leo will be the last pope. If your team concurs, what event would cause the end of this very long tradition? I don't see any truth to this assertion. Pope Leo will not be the last pope. There will be many more to come. And no truth to that assertion, according to my team of the millions communicating with right now. 33, if we see what we think are signs, how do we know who is leaving them and what the actual message is? So the first step is always to take notice of what the sign is. Can you somehow correlate that to your life? So this is a broad example. If you're seeing signs of moving trucks all the time, are you thinking about moving? Are they moving trucks coming from Alaska? Are you thinking about moving to Alaska? So try to correlate with something in your life. The second is once you take notice of that sign, do you get cold chills? Cold chills are always a sign that your angels and guides are working around you. So take a couple of steps back to try to validate. It's almost like take the message, write it down, and then look to see if you can validate that in your own life or you're getting cold chills. Normally, important messages come through multiple times, so you won't just get a one and done. If, for example, I'm just using a moving example, if you're supposed to move, you'll get multiple messages you're supposed to move. You're seeing moving trucks, you're seeing friends talk to you about it, you're seeing shows on TV. So usually it's more than just one validation. Okay, 32 in the countdown. If extraterrestrial hybrids are working with scientists and engineers to advance knowledge, then they must know that their discoveries may also make great financial profits for some individuals. Do the hybrids care? Well, not necessarily. They're spreading information for the benefit of humanity. So, remember, all information comes out of humanity. Humanity is a flawed experiment. Now, what I mean by that is that everybody's down here learning lessons. Nobody's perfect. So they understand that some information will be used for the profitability of others, but by and large, like releasing information on genetic engineering or cold fusion, for free energy, that's meant to help humanity overall. So yes, there's some aberrations where some individuals might unnecessarily profit from information being released, but overall, it helps move humanity forward. 31. Recently, there have been several earthquakes on the Greek islands, including Crete, with related tsunami warnings. Do you see anything major happening to the island of Crete in the next couple of weeks? I see many 6 to 7 Richter earthquakes occurring in that area with a number of tsunami warnings. I don't see massive losses of life, but a lot of movement in the Mediterranean Sea throughout that area. So a lot of ongoing movement throughout 2025 and 2026, and many in the 6 to 7 Richter scale range. 30, I've seen a large number of videos of people discussing mirror scrying, where someone looks at themselves for a minute or two in the mirror and starts to see themselves shape shift. I've heard various theories as to why this happens. Can you give some insight as to what is really happening, why people are seeing themselves this way? So this is an ancient technique of decoupling your logical mind from your spiritual mind. Now, a lot of it's an optical effect. Think about like trying to defocus your eyes. And if you defocus your eyes, you can start to see aberrations or optical aberrations. You're not necessarily seeing another dimension, but it's actually allowing your mind to be a little more creative, decoupling your logical mind. So this is more closely related to try to move into more of a clairvoyant ability. Remember when you're clairvoyant, you can see images, and those images are related to messages from angels and guides. So a little bit of creativity here, an optical effect, and a little bit of science thrown in with it, if you will. But it's not necessarily you seeing into another dimension per se, but the decoupling of your logical mind makes you more open to messages that are coming through from the other side from your angels and guides. In fact, my team is just saying that's kind of a way to like enhance the clairvoyant Claire. Okay. 29. Eric Prince and Blackwater are establishing camps on the U.S. military bases. Will Eric's plans to profit from removal of immigrants be realized? Will Eric Prince ever see real consequences for his inhumane actions? So he's going to profit, yes, in the short term. Yes, a lot of his plans are going to go through. And no, in the long run, he's going to escape to other countries and he'll escape retribution or prison time. He's actually being protected by a lot of very powerful people in the world. He's doing the dirty work of a lot of very powerful, wealthy people in the world. So no real consequences for him. 28. Will Fox News ever stop their commentators from lying to the audience? And if so, when? Starting in mid 2026, you're going to see a big change in Fox and Fox News as more people lean into the truth of what matters. So they're going to lose eyeballs, they'll lose viewers, and then that shift is going to happen. 27, when an animal species becomes extinct on Earth, do they continue to exist in other realms? Yes, all animals are never lost to other realms. Remember, all animals, everything on Earth came from other star systems, and they still exist there. Like consider the woolly mammoth, still exists in other galaxies and other planets. But yes, they're never really extinct, and that's why they keep coming back. And in fact, CRISPR technology will actually be used to re-inhabit potentially what were thought to be extinct animals. 26. What is the mysterious metal sphere being analyzed by scientists, which has on it extraterrestrial patterns? It fell from the sky in Colombia's city of Buga, looks like. Yeah. So I've read on these before. These spheres, there are actually thousands of them around the world. They are communication devices being deposited here by several ET species. What's interesting is they have their own internal artificial intelligence. They're actually intelligent. If you put the sphere down and don't touch it, it will move around on its own. It communicates with other extraterrestrial groups. Think about it as a micro communication device that's being controlled by external ET groups. So there's thousands of these on the planet right now. They're phenomenal. And there's actually a lot of videos on YouTube you can pull up of these highly intelligent spheres. So this one here in Colombia, I guess you're saying maybe they don't know what it is. If they do a little more research, they'll see how many there are around the world. 25, in a general sense, can anyone call in any spirit guide to answer your questions? For example, can you call in a famous person that has passed, and will they always be willing to answer? So, guides and angels are distinctly different than, say, famous people from history. Guides and angels have a wealth of experience. Angels coming from the angelic realm, very highly developed. Guides have thousands of reincarnations in many cases, so highly skilled. They're the ones that are your stewards for everything on the other side. Yes, you could reach out to famous people. Your guides and angels will act as stewards to famous people, but famous people, not necessarily their responsibility to answer your questions, and then they won't always have the ability or the knowledge to do so. 24. Hello, Sterling. I often experience things like seeing colors, feeling tingling sensations, and hearing singing, especially during quiet moments. I find it enjoyable. Are these common signs of connecting with spiritual guides? Yes, in many instances, this can be a sign you're connecting with the heaven dimension or angels and guides on the other side. A lot of angels and guides like to sing, and it's not necessarily heavenly songs. They might be singing, some of their favorite songs. But yeah, connecting to music. You're saying colors, feeling tingling sensations. Certainly, cold chills are always very related. When you say something that's universally important or significant or truthful, many times you will get a cold chill. 23, two little children vanished about 10 days ago in Pictou, it looks like, or Nova Scotia. Jack and Lily, 6 and 4, what happened to them? Is there foul play involved? I do get, my heart goes out to the family. I do get there's foul play involved here, and it's somewhat directly or indirectly related to family or family members. So something going on here with some foul play. It looks like the police are on top of it, and we're going to know in just a few weeks here where they are, what happened to them. Yeah, you're going to know very soon. Okay, 22 in the countdown. Many states have been pushing to create more charter schools, including religious ones. What do you see happening with charter schools, and will public schools survive? I do see large increases in charter schools focused on religion, even though that's not why charter schools were originally developed. So over the next 2 years, kind of a big increase in charter schools. I do see public schools surviving. I do see major funding within 2 years, major funding coming back into public schools. So a little bit of a transition going on here around this area of Project 2025 plan that's going to span a good 2-year period here. 21. Hello, Sterling and team. Will 45 succeed in threatening Pope Leo with losing tax exempt status if he doesn't go along with his rhetoric? Will he sway the new pope? I don't see truth to these assertions. I do see Pope Leo standing his ground, standing firm, being a real leader in the world, as we've talked about before, a real leader for change, love, acceptance, immigration policy. I do see the new pope really standing up for a lot of LGBTQ plus rights. I think it's LGBTQ plus IA. Yes, so I don't see Pope Leo being affected really whatsoever. My team's saying by what's going on with 45 here, he's going to have to play in the same sandbox as 45 on the world stage. But Pope Leo is going to be very strong in pushing for what's right. Okay. 20. Do you see any breakthroughs in dental technology that will help make visits more painless? I do. By the year 2035, this is again, genetic engineering technology will lower the pain threshold for dental procedures as well as help with the regrowing of teeth. And the regrowing of teeth is already being done right now, but it'll be rolled out in a big way by 2035 with nearly no pain, I'm getting. 19. What are malevolent spirits and why are they here and how do we get rid of them? So, look, malevolent spirits are thought to be harmful spirits, right? This low-level energy. There are trickster spirits. There's all sorts. Remember, there's thousands of levels in heaven, for example. So, there's even fallen angels that don't decide to follow the methods of love in heaven. Malevolent spirits will waste your time, try to take you off track. That's all true. And like affects like. So it's always important to keep your energy high. If you're depressed, if you're full of anxiety, you'll attract these kinds of spirits. Like attracts like. But nothing evil. It's probably important to say there are no such things as curses. I hear this all the time. Probably going to do a show on the top 10 or top 20 things that we hear all the time on this channel. But, some of the people associate curses with malevolent spirits. They're low level energy. If you keep your energy high, you won't attract them. You'll be able to push them off. 18. Daniel Robinson, the 24-year-old geologist that went missing in Arizona in June of 2021, whose Jeep Renegade vehicle was found in a ravine, has been lost for a long time. Will he be found? Will they discover what happened? And was this foul play? I do see this was robbery and an eventual murder, and yes, they will discover what happened. I do see this was like a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. No fault of Daniel Robinson was his name. Remember, everything is part of a life path. We all choose our exit point. It's always hard for people to understand that, but he will. This case will be solved within this year. I'm getting within 2025. And I just heard his body will be found, remains within 2025. 17, there's a great deal of discussion about Alberta, Canada, seceding from the rest of Canada. Will this happen? No truth to this assertion that Alberta, Canada will secede from Canada. No. 16, will there be a terrorist or false flag attack inside the U.S. that will be the event for 45 regime to suspend habeas corpus and lead us into a further path of authoritarianism? No internal false flag attack that I see coming. There's going to be moderate terrorist activity here and there from, let's call it Middle Eastern friendly terrorist groups. And some homegrown terrorism, but no false flag attack. And the information will be uncovered very quickly, so they won't be able to declare it as a false flag attack. No. Okay, 15, the countdown. When ETs start integrating into society, I'm worried people will react with fear and perhaps even violence. What do you see, and how will this play out? Well, it's all part of the human experience, but by and large, ETs are rather sophisticated. They don't allow harm to come to them. Yes, some individuals will, in a bad way, try to create violent events. They'll be shut down very quickly. The amount of advanced technologies that extraterrestrials use, even in terms of shape shifting, will prevent a lot of violence. So it's going to be kept under control. By and large, the majority of the world's population expects full disclosure, and there's always going to be some outliers that'll be violent, but they'll be taken care of promptly. 14. Will America ever stop with the extensive, long election process we currently have and remove large amounts of money fed into advertising for campaigns? Yes, this is all part of the 30-year reset, but within about, actually by 2055, looks like a lot of the long election process will be done with in the US. So, it's a progressive, ramp down, if you will, of the long election process. You know, yeah, 2055, obviously, we got a ways to go here. But it's for some reason they're telling me it's going to be a long, progressive kind of ramp down, but we're going to get to a place where it gets shorter and less advertising is going to be in effect. By the way, better auditing and better AI systems on the back end are going to make sure that elections are fair. 13. Why are ET groups harvesting various cow and animal parts as related to the mutilated cattle found around the world? This is all part of biomedical engineering and the development of hybrids. It's been going on for actually thousands of years. So it's all part of biomedical engineering by various extraterrestrial groups, and many governments around the world are completely aware of it. 12. The DOJ is ending desegregation in Louisiana schools. Is this the beginning of segregation schools across the U.S. and other establishments? Do you see this being stopped? I see it's going to be isolated to a number of schools like in that area, but it's not going to be a nationwide sweeping and a return to segregation. This is all part of the chaos being created by what's in the Project 2025 plan and the current administration. But in terms of Louisiana, it looks like it's going to impart, it's almost like a bit of a, I'll call it a cancer in that area, and then it's going to be stopped. 11. Will the world ever get leaders who are physically gifted to help rebuild a better world of tomorrow? Here again, this is going to start within a decade. By 2035, you're going to see a lot of the new leaders emerge onto the world scene after the big fiasco of the last few years here. Okay, 10 in the countdown. In regards to the previous presidential non-alive attempts, the public was advised regarding details of the shooter and their motives. We have not heard anything regarding the attempt on 45's life in Butler, Pennsylvania. Why has little information been released to the public regarding this attempt? In retrospect, my team's saying a lot of reports or information were released at the end of last year in 2024. So I'm not sure my team subscribes to this statement as the question is being asked. Looks like a lot of information is out there available, and many reports were released at the end of 2024. 9. Do ETs on other planets have musical ability like playing piano, other musical instruments? Do they sing and dance? Yes, they all have major musical ability, and they use what's most close associated with like polyphonic synthesizers, complex electronic music. Very, very, very common. They sing and they dance. Yes, all very common. Okay, 8 in the countdown. When we pray, why do some prayers get answered and others do not? So all prayers are answered, not always in the time frame you expect. Remember, time, it's in the universal time, may not necessarily be in your time or the time that you perceive, okay? And that just means that everything works for good and everything works in universal time when it's meant to happen. All prayers are answered. 7, are there sites like Area 51 that work with our government and extraterrestrials doing the same work in other parts of the world? Yes, they're all over the world. There are places in China and Russia, Australia, Nevada, right? So all over the world, there are special sites, government, military sites, working on extraterrestrial technology. 6, I am wondering how long it will be until the world is no longer relying on oil and gas for our energy needs. In another 50 years, we'll see the complete departure of petroleum products and oil and gas products, and there'll be many other types of fuel sources, including types of rare metals that are not even on this planet right now will be brought from other planets. Five, will the Supreme Court rule, or how will the Supreme Court rule on the challenge to birthright citizenship injunctions ordered by the lower courts? I get they're going to uphold birthright citizenship and it may be tossed around through a number of courts. Overall, they're going to uphold birthright citizenship as defined in the Constitution. Four, there's a prediction of a major cataclysmic event off the coast of Japan that is supposed to result in a new landmass beginning July 5th of this year. Do you and your guide see anything significant happening there at that time? Don't see there's a number of Richter 6 and 7 level earthquakes happening off the coast of Japan this year, creating some tsunami activity again. But I don't see a significant activity creating another landmass, which is, I guess, what's being asked here, or a cataclysmic event. Looks like a lot of warning is going to happen. I see a lot of early warning systems due to tectonic plate shifts out there off the coast of Japan. So yeah, there's more earthquakes, but nothing that's cataclysmic or would cause a landmass. No, my team is saying no truth to that assertion. And number three, number two, and number one, I take notes before we start these shows, so I'll read them back to you. Number three, do your extraterrestrial friends have anything they want to share? Keep the faith and know that we are watching all of the world's events and will move humanity towards a better tomorrow. We guarantee it. Number two, what do you see coming up this week? New congressional push for budget approval that appears will go through with smaller reductions for things like Medicare. We talked about some of that earlier. Middle East strikes in and around Iran. It looks like a lot of these are coming from Israel. Putin meeting with Zelensky, moving towards peace discussions. Looks like that meeting is actually going to take place. Better diagnosis than expected for President Biden and his pathway to health going forward and treatment. And number one in the countdown, do you have anything your guides want to share? Remember, patience is a skill as well as a virtue. Practice it daily. We're all in a time period right now where patience is very important as we all work through diligently towards a better tomorrow, standing in love. And on that note, that completes the show being recorded today on Saturday, May 24th, 2025, posted to all media platforms Sunday, May 25th, 2025. If you're celebrating Memorial Day weekend, I want to wish you a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Blessings to everybody worldwide. If you want to join our Platinum membership and engage in our live streams on Fridays where I answer questions from our viewers, the Platinum membership join button is available on the front page of the YouTube channel, as well as the homepage of our website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. And on that note, I'm going to send out a lot of goodwill and tremendous love to you and your families. Take care. I will see you all again very soon.